Hello Year 10. What we're going to do at this moment in time is take you through your way back into school, around the school, what toilets you can use, classrooms, etc, etc, which will hopefully answer all of your questions, queries about coming back to school, and looking forward to seeing you all.
Right, the first entrance is we are coming in via Old Dover Road and then walking up the ramp towards the green gates outside of L Block. Upon entering, take note of the sign, and then when you come in to L Block, you will be directed to stand on one of the dots either side of the playground. These dots are located at 2 meters apart. A teacher will then call you forward to the tables underneath the undercover area. You will then be told what classroom you are in for the next 2 days, and therefore you are to make your way straight to the classroom once you are called after this point. You are going to be located in Moore Block, so your route will be along here in between G Block and then down either the boys or the girls corridor. We're going to use the boys corridor as an example. Once you get to the boys corridor, you are entering the boys corridor into the toilets and then washing your hands. Please take note of the signs, washing your hands, and explaining how to do it safely and securely for at least 20 seconds. You can then leave via the other door. So you're coming on the left-hand door, leaving through the right-hand door, and head straight towards your room that you were given earlier. So you've now been told your room, and we're going to give the example for the girls' corridor. So you're walking down between L Block and G Block. Into the corridor, into the toilets, washing your hands on the way in, again taking note.
I didn't know where the sinks were.
Taking note, yeah. And then leaving via the other door. There are some signs here. Leaving via the other door, down the corridor to your allocated room as given from the table outside L Block. Please note that when we get to Moore Block, we have a one-way system, and this is indicated on the floor via the arrows here. So we are not going up the stairwell in front of Moore Block, we are following the arrows and we're going up the stairwell in front of the boys corridor, which is now the up stairwell. And that's following the arrows up to the first floor of Moore Block, as we will give an example. You will then pause at the door to Moore Block. Your teacher will invite you in to the door and then we'll give you a number. It is likely that if you are first in, you are entering via the left-hand side of the tape. The teacher goes to the right-hand side and you will be given a number. If you're first in, it's likely you'll be in number 1 and you'll walk to your desk, which will be indicated by the student number on there, and then you'll take a seat ready for your lessons that day. So at break time, you'll dismiss the classroom at a time by a member of SLT, and then leaving the classroom using the tape again on the right hand side this time. Remember, we're using a one-way system within Moore Block, so walking down the corridor and then down the stairwell adjacent to the girls' corridor. And then you'll walk down Moorblock stairwell. Again, adhering to the signs which indicate 2 meters apart. And we're going right down to the bottom. Out through the fire doors. And then we are making our way to the lower school field. We are doing so via this route only and not via the senior playground, which is out of bounds. So we're walking past the drag. We're now going to be walking in between the drag and D block along the path, and then we're going to walk down the ramp at the end of the drag. So we're walking down the ramp, and then you will be walking again, staying 2 meters apart. And when you get to the bottom of the ramp, you'll be directed by a member of the senior leadership team to your area within the lower school field. Please note that your area will be the same pupils as were in your classroom within Moorblock, and there is no integrating between each area to allow you to stay within the same classrooms as you are all day on the lower field. At the end of your half-an-hour break, your class will be directed and led by your teacher back up the ramp, and this will be dismissed one class at a time from the lower field. And we are then walking back up the ramp, back towards our classroom where we were for the first 2 sessions of the morning. Remembering to stay 2 meters apart on our walk back up to the classroom, and also to adhere to that one-way system again in Moorblock. So we're walking in between the drag and D block, turn left at the end of the drag, and back to the fire doors at the bottom of Moorblock stairwell. Now this is where it will get slightly complicated. We are going up 1 flight of stairs, but we are not continuing up as normal. We are turning left at the top. So we're going up these stairs, straight through the doors, and then we're following the arrows on the floor, and we are going left, and then back up to our up stairwell, which is on the boys' corridor side, and then up the corridor. And remembering this time we are going to use hand sanitizer, as we've been outside for break, on the way in, and this will be located outside of every classroom. There will be a table outside every classroom with hand sanitizer, so you'll use that and then proceed in on the left hand side of the tape back to your place where you were sat this morning session. It's really important you go back to the same place where you were sat for this morning session. At the end of the school day, you'll be directed by your teacher to leave your place, and then to gently wipe over your desk and chair using the antibacterial spray. So spray it over your place and spray it over your chair. They wipe down to aid the cleaners for this evening, and then back to the place. And then at that point, you are now free to leave, and this will also help stagger the leaving of each classroom, so one person leaves at a time. Remembering not to use the boys' stairwell, and we are going straight along, and we are using the girls' stairwell as the downward stairwell to Moorblock. Down the stairs, and then along the appropriate corridor. And then we are going to be aiming to leave through exactly the same entrance as we entered in the morning, which is the entrance at L Block and on the Old Dover Road. It's really important we don't stop or loiter around this area, because we've got a lot of people leaving at the same time, and therefore we still remain 2 meters apart, walking, turning left at the end along here, making sure if there are boys coming out of the corridor, you are leaving the 2 meter gap as well. So you just pause at the end and then straight forward to the green gates. If for any reason you're waiting for a sibling or someone you are traveling with to and from school, then you will need to do so by the same method as you did earlier in the school day, and that will be via waiting at one of the spots located on the left and right. Otherwise, you are free to leave straight forward out of the Old Dover Road gates and then home on your normal means of travel. If you're located on the second floor Moore Block and you wish to go to the toilet during lesson time, your teacher will permit you to go when it's safe to do so, one at a time, and you will use the DDA toilet that is located on the second floor of Moore Block. Come into the toilet in here, and then the same protocols will apply to all toilets, and that there will be antibacterial spray for you to use if you so wish, and you can spray the seat, wiping it simply with toilet roll, and then you're free to use the toilet, and then returning back to your classroom where your teacher will be able to dismiss the next person wishing to use the toilet. Those located on the first floor of Moore Block wishing to go to the toilet during lesson time can do so again one at a time, but by leaving the classroom when the teacher is directed and going down the stairwell in Moore Block. Remember, using the girls' side is the downward stairwell. And this time we're going to give an example of the boys' toilets. So we're going to go down and we're going to follow the arrows at the bottom for the one-way system, going along bottom of Moore Block, along to the boys' corridor, where you will see there are 2 meter markings on the floor, and equally there are markings on the left-hand side. And then you will wait at the first available marking on the left-hand side, and a teacher will be located at this desk here, and they will call you forward when the toilets are free in order for you to use them 2 at a time. Please come forward.
Thanks, Ian.
Please come forward. And then you will leave via the other door, straight back down, making sure you keep to the left as you exit in order to keep the 2 meter distance from the people queuing, and then back up to your classroom within Moore Block. The last exception is when hearing the fire alarm in this school. The fire alarm sounds, it's still important to keep your 2 meter distance, but in this case you can use the nearest available exit. In this case this will be the upward stairwell, but we are all travelling downwards in order to get out the building as quickly and as safely as possible. So we're going to come down here, and rather go along, we're actually going to go to the nearest fire exit, which is through main reception. We're going to walk down the stairwell, and we're going to turn immediately left and then exit through the nearest available fire escape, which is through here. And then we are going to go to the senior playground. That's important that any signs that are erected are temporary signs, and in the event of a fire we will go through the emergency tape. So we're walking direct route to the senior playground, and then a member of staff will normally be here to meet you, and if you can go under the tape, go under it, or we can simply break through the tape as it's available for a fire. For the purpose of the video, we're just going to simply go under the tape. and then we will line up according to our room that we are in, which are indicated on the back fence of the senior playground. In this case, we came from M13, which is the first sign on the left-hand side. And it's important that when we get there, we still make a straight line in silence, but also at 2 meters apart. So the first person standing 2 meters facing forwards, and the second person standing 2 meters in front again.